Hi folks. So for anyone else who believes, just for a second, that I have a ban on me from owning animals, well, there is Saul, and here comes Bambini. There he is. Yeah, those are the ones I have now. So yeah. Yeah. This video will be about how I got to the point where I do not judge my mother and father. It's quite simple, of just going to God about it and asking Him to help me to understand from their point of view. And when I considered the situation that my mother was in, being a very, very young woman in the late 60s, already having a small baby. I think my brother would have been about a year old when she conceived me. Growing up after the Second World War and seeing a lot of misery, seeing a lot of darkness, because it wasn't just because of what happened in the war. As I said before, it's also because men come back from the war shattered, having seen their brothers and their friends blown to pieces. Now, for most people, unless you're of a certain type, that's going to majorly affect you. And so therefore, obviously her father, the same as my dad's father, would have been massively affected by that. Both of them would have grown up in that sort of way. And the mothers, during the war, they would have been going to work. Or they would certainly have seen women in the factories and women doing the work that men were doing. And then as soon as the war ended, women were shunted off back home, be housewives and mothers, because the government thought, let's get back to normal as quickly as possible. Yeah, that's going to help people to settle. Yeah, it caused a lot of problems. Because you had resistance from both the father, because the father was expected to be just a husband and a father again after everything that they'd been through. There was very, very slim hope that that was going to happen. And the mother was expected, after having a degree of freedom, to go back to being tied to the kitchen sink. Again, there was little hope of that being the case, wasn't there? So, yeah, a lot of resistance to parenthood, and there would have been a lot more of a fractious sort of relationships going on at that time. And then you have the likes of Buddy Holly. You have rock and roll, you have Elvis, you have the Beatles, then you have the flower power. You have that sense of freedom, that sense of a new beginning, where all of that darkness is thrown off. As a very, very young woman, you suddenly find yourself married with with one child and expecting another one. Yeah. This is not what she had signed up for. So, rejecting that child upon conception is a perfectly understandable thing to do. Everything that followed, from her point of view, not acknowledging this child, a perfectly acceptable and understandable thing to do once you had rejected that child at conception. And therefore, it goes over to the old man. What about him? Well, again, the same. His parents would have been the same. He would have been one of the middle-aged children because on his side, I knew his side better than my mother's side. On his side, he had an older brother, an older sister. He had a younger sister. And I'm not sure. He might have had 2 older sisters. But he had a younger sister as well. But therefore, life would have been difficult. Well, he had 2 older brothers, actually. No, 1 older brother. Yeah. Two. Yeah, 2 older brothers, and I believe 2 older sisters, and then there was him and a younger sister. So therefore, yeah, difficult for me to work out because I haven't spoken to these people for many years, and from the last time I saw most of them, I was about 10, and so trying to work out how old these people were then. Yeah, there's no preparation to my videos, you can tell. Well, there shouldn't be preparation anyway, but there you go. Yeah. So from his point of view, yeah, he's married this woman who has rejected this child. Not only rejected this child, but also she is meeting with another man, having an affair with another man. None of this is what he signed up for. All of this is way too much for a young man. So, yeah. He divorced her. After a while, he met another woman, Jean, and I think it was a case that she saw that there was a lot of complication with his previous relationship and the children he had there. And that maybe that impacted him, and she made a decision to say to him, look, you've got to decide. Yeah, we are a family or they are your family. But you've got to decide because right now, yeah, both can't work. So only one of these is going to work. And it's like, yeah, okay. I think that's completely and utterly understandable. I think for most people they would understand that and agree that, yeah, that making that decision could have been the wise one to make. Well, they lived happily ever after for many, many years, and they had a son, and yeah, they had a good life. And with regards to my mother, she married the person that she had been with while she was still married to my biological father. And, yeah. So they to me are, they're not parents. They to me are people who are in a situation. And as I say, for me, it's quite easy for me to deal with that. Partly also because of the fact that I never had a relationship with them. So therefore, it was never a betrayal sort of relationship, or never really, from my point of view, understood as being rejected, because there had never been anything anyway. Not from when I was of an age where I could sort of understand. So, yeah. And that's the point. So, but, as I say, you have to look at things from, not necessarily from that point of view, but from the point of view of trying to understand the other person's point of view and where they were at the time. Yeah. So that you don't judge. Because judging is too easy a thing to do, and it's something which will only cause you problems. And so, try to understand people. Try to understand where they were, and where they are, and why they decided what they decided. And be graceful and be merciful towards them. So there you go. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Be a blessing, be blessed, and have a fantastic day. Bye bye.